Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. As you know that we have started the histological features of the eyeball, and in my previous lecture we have already covered the histology of cornea. Now moving on to the next part of the histological features of eyeball. I had already discussed with you the structure of the eyeball, revising it again, that the eyeball, it just resembles a globe-like structure, or it is a sphere. It is having three coats, which is also known as the tunicas. The outer one, that is the fibrous coat, which is known as the tunica fibrosa. It is composed of that anterior 1/6 part of this coat is cornea, which is transparent, and its histological structure in detail we had already discussed in the previous lecture. And the remaining 5/6 part posteriorly, that is known as sclera. The junction of the cornea and sclera here, which is corneoscleral junction, that is known as limbus, and here is this scleral venous sinus, or the canal of Schlemm, which is responsible to drain the aqueous humor which is present in this anterior chamber of the eyeball. This is the anterior chamber which is present between the cornea and the iris. You have seen this is the iris, and these are the cut ends of the iris, and it is a diaphragm like structure which has this central opening which is known as the pupil. Then posteriorly, behind this iris and the ciliary body and between the zonular ligament of the lens, there is this chamber which is known as the posterior chamber of the eyeball, and it also has the aqueous humor. The aqueous humor is secreted through the ciliary processes of the ciliary body, and then it is circulated and passed through the pupil to enter into the anterior chamber, and ultimately drains into the canal of Schlemm, which is present over here, that is the endothelium lined canal, also known as scleral venous sinus, and then that is recirculated back into the venous circulation. So that anterior and posterior chamber which is making up the anterior cavity of the eyeball. There is the posterior cavity which is known as the vitreous chamber. This is present behind the lens, and this is having the vitreous humor, which is a gel-like component present in this posterior cavity. So you must remember that anterior chamber present between the cornea and iris, and the posterior chamber which is present behind the iris in between the ciliary body and the zonular ligaments. This is having aqueous humor, and this vitreous chamber has the vitreous humor. Now there is the second layer, which is the vascular and pigmented layer. That's why this is shown, it is dark colored layer. That is the choroid. And anteriorly this choroid has this ciliary body and iris. So iris, ciliary body and choroid are making up the tunica vasculosa, or it is also known as the uveal layer, or simply the uvea of the eyeball. Then inner to that layer is the next layer, which is the retina. This is the third layer present in the eyeball. It is going to have this pigment layer and the neural layer, which is the photosensitive layer. Anteriorly, there is the demarcation, which is this area, that is ora serrata. This area is the area present between the sensory photosensitive area of the retina, which is present posteriorly, and beyond that ora serrata, the retina is non-sensory and This is the more closer view of the eyeball, in which I am going to focus on the fibrous coat of the eyeball. We have already discussed the histological features of the cornea, in which you have seen that cornea has 5 layers. So these 5 layers of the cornea, the main corneal stroma, which is making up the main bulk in the cornea, that is continuous posteriorly as the sclera proper. So that sclera you can see as a white opaque structure giving up the strength and shape of the eyeball, and this is having dense collagen fibers. So actually this is continuation of the corneal stroma to the sclera proper. The corneal epithelium, which is present superficially here, that is continuous up into the conjunctiva. I will show you in the next slide. And the corneal endothelium facing towards that anterior chamber, towards the aqueous humor, its endothelium along with its decimates membrane, it continues into the wall of this canal of Schlemm, which is also endothelium lined cavity at this limbus, and the endothelium and its decimate membrane continues as a scleral venous sinus or the wall of the canal of Schlemm. And the middle main portion of the cornea, the next slide, you can see that the sclera that is giving up the attachment or insertion site of the extraocular muscles anteriorly. And here at this area of the limbus, where you can appreciate here, this is the canal of Schlemm, which is helping for the recirculation of the aqueous humor, which is secreted through that ciliary processes from its epithelium. Then it is collected into the posterior chamber and transported to the interior chamber through the pupil and recirculated into the venous circulation through that canal of the Schlemm. So at this area, so if you see the histological structure of the sclera, that is going to compose of 3 important layers: the episclera, the sclera proper, and suprachoroidal lamina. The sclera, which is going to thicken posteriorly, and it is actually the 0.5 millimeter in thickness, but more posteriorly it's reaching up to 1 millimeter. And at the optic nerve attachment, it is going to continues as the epi. So actually in a sclera, the main component is the collagen fibers, which is making up the sclera proper. That is going to consist of tough, dense connective tissue, and this is mainly the collagen fibers, the bundles of the collagen fibers, which are intersecting with each other in various direction in an irregular and very complicated manner. This irregular arrangement and intersection of the collagen fiber is responsible for the opaque nature of the sclera. But the bundles of the collagen fibers, they are present parallel to the surface of the eyeball, but in the sclera proper, they are going to intersect with each other at an irregular manner. Along with that collagen fiber, there is a ground substance, and there is a few amount of the elastic fiber and few fibroblasts. They are also appreciated. This sclera proper is going to have at its external surface this very loose connective tissue layer, that is episclera. The episclera is responsible to connect the sclera with the fibrous sheet of the eyeball, which is Tenon's capsule. So Tenon's capsule come into contact with the loose connective tissue, and then that is connecting the sclera with conjunctival stroma at the junction of cornea and sclera, that is limbus. So at this corneoscleral junction, the Tenon's capsule, it connects the sclera through this episcleral layer to the conjunctival stroma. Then Between the sclera and the choroid, you can say deep to the sclera proper, is the suprachoroidal lamina, which is the transition or junction point which is demarcating the sclera from the underlying choroid layer. So this is suprachoroidal lamina. It is again a thin connective tissue layer, but here you can also see, along with the fibroblast and elastic fibers, the melanocytes, which are actually the main components present in the choroidal layer of the eyeball. So in this picture you can see here that this is fibrous avascular actually sclera, which is responsible for the nutrition from the underlying choroid here, which you can see there are many blood vessels in the choroid, and actually these are the fenestrated capillaries. I will show you in the next slides, along with these pigmented cells which are the melanocytes. So here in between the sclera and the choroid, you can see here is a loose connective tissue where the melanocytes start appearing. This is the suprachoroidal lamina. This suprachoroidal lamina is also known as lamina fusca. You must remember its other name is lamina fusca. So here you can see actually, which I have shown you, that the most superficial layer, which is the corneal epithelium, that is going to continues with the epithelium of the conjunctiva, which is again the stratified epithelium, and the anterior limiting membrane that disappears here, but this epithelium is going to continues with that conjunctiva. The corneal stroma, it is going to become the sclera proper, as it is the collagen fibers, and in this case here it's endothelium and the decimates membrane, which is posterior limiting membrane, is going to make up the wall of that canal of Schlemm and the trabecular meshwork, which is present at this corneoscleral junction at this limbus. And here you can appreciate this fibrous tissue. This is continuous behind into the fibrous tissue of the sclera, and this is going to form the sclera proper. Then above here, superficially, there is the episclera, which is going to continues with the, and it is going to attach with the fibrous sheets of the eyeball, which is the Tenon's capsule, and through that Tenon's capsule it gets attachment with the conjunctival tissue at the limbus. Here you can see this is the conjunctiva, and in between the choroid and sclera there is the loose connective tissue again, which is the lamina fusca or the suprachoroidal lamina, that is the transition and demarcation point between the sclera and choroid layer here. So these are the three layers which are making up the structural histological structure of the sclera: the episclera, loose connective tissue, then is this dense, very dense and tough connective tissue made up of collagen fiber making up the sclera proper, and again loose connective tissue, the transition point between sclera and choroid, that is suprachoroidal lamina or the lamina fusca. In between that suprachoroidal lamina and this choroid layer is a space which is known as perichoroidal space. So that is the histological structure of a sclera, you must remember. So here again, that is the H&E stain slide, in which you can see this is the area of the lens. So you can see here the lens, and now is the iris. This is the anterior chamber, and here at this junction you can see this endothelium lined the scleral venous sinus, which is also known as canal of Schlemm, and this is a corneoscleral junction, and the fibrous tissue of cornea is going to continues posteriorly as the dense connective tissue of the sclera, again the fibrous tissue which are the bundles of the collagen fibers. And here you can see this is the area of conjunctiva, that conjunctiva which is now making up, it is present on the undersurface of the eyelids. So here You can have the episclera, which is going to continuous with the fibrous sheet and then get attachment with the conjunctiva. And the epithelium of the cornea, it is going to continuous as the epithelium of the conjunctiva here. And then is the episclera, this is the sclera proper, and again here this layer, which is the loose type of the connective tissue, where you can appreciate these melanocytes start appearing. This is making up the suprachoroidal lamina at transition point between sclera and choroid. Now moving on to the next layer, which is the tunica vasculosa. It is also known as the uveal tract or the uvea. This is going to composed of three parts, which are number one, choroid, that is making up the posterior most area, that is the main component in this tunica vasculosa. Then anteriorly it is making up the ciliary body and iris. So the choroid is highly vascularized thin layer. It is having the loose connective tissue, and in between that connective tissue, which is the collagen fibers, there is the blood vessels. It lines the posterior 3/4 of the sclera, and that is approximately, you can say, up to the level of ora serrata. So till the area of ora serrata, the choroid is present. Then beyond the ora serrata, this uveal layer is going to become the ciliary body and iris. So choroid is rich in connective tissue, collagen and elastic fibers, and the melanocytes. And because of the presence of the melanocyte and as well as the high vascularity and presence of the rich amount of blood vessels, this is giving the choroid dark color as compared to the sclera, which is a white opaque colored fibrous component. So the outer layer of the choroid, which is present beneath the sclera, is the suprachoroidal lamina or lamina fusca, as I have already told you, and the choroid is separated from the sclera through this perichoroidal space, which is present beneath that lamina. Then next layer is the choroidal stroma. Again, the main component will be the stroma of the choroid. This layer consists of type 1 collagen fibers, the elastic fibers. Along with that, there is macrophages and numerous amount of melanocytes, which is present in the stroma of the choroidal layer. So this layer, it is also going to have the arteries, the main arteries and vein of the choroids. They are going to run in this choroid stroma. Next, deep to the choroid stroma is choriocapillary lamina, which is having the meshwork of fenestrated type of the capillaries. Actually, these are the capillaries, but unusually they are of larger size, and they are making up the capillary plexus, which is also very important because this is going to help in the that is providing the nutrition to the outer layer of the retina. And in between the choriocapillary layers, in between these capillary network, the area is going to occupied by the that is delicate collagen and elastic fibers that is present, and fibroblast and melanocytes are also present in this layer. But main and very important component actually here is the bulk of small blood vessels, which are fenestrated type of the capillaries in this choriocapillary layer. Then next to there is the layer which is the brush membrane, which is lamina vitrea. This brush membrane or lamina vitrea, that appears very thin, shiny and homogeneous layer under the light microscope, and this is present on the pigment epithelium of the retina. And if you look at the structure of this brush membrane in the electron microscope, then it is actually going to compose of 5 components. First of all, there is the basal lamina of the choriocapillary layer, which is already present just above to that fibrous tissue. Then is the external component of collagen fiber. Then the third layer is the elastic fiber. Then again there is internal layer of collagen fibers, and the innermost, the fifth layer, is the basal lamina of the retinal pigment epithelium. So you can say actually there is 3 layers of the fibrous tissue. The collagen fibers which are going to present, and in between the collagen fiber there is a middle layer of the elastic fiber, and then this is covered externally by the basement membrane of choriocapillary layer, and internally this fibrous component, which is having the double layer of collagen fiber with middle elastic fiber layer, it is going to lined internally by the basement membrane of the pigment epithelium of retina. So in between the choriocapillary layer and basement membrane of pigment epithelium, there is 3 layers of these collagen fiber, elastic fiber, and then again collagen fiber. So along with that, these 5 layers, they are making up the brush membrane or the lamina vitrea, which is the innermost layer of the choroid, separating it from the underlying retina. So today I have discussed the histological structure of the sclera, which is having 3 important layers: the episclera, sclera proper, and the suprachoroidal lamina. And next we have started the uveal layer or tunica vasculosa, in which we have done with the choroid, and this choroid has the choroidal stroma, the choriocapillary layer, and brush membrane. So here I end up with today's lecture. Thank you very much, and in the next class I am going to discuss with you the remaining part of the eye, histological features of the eyeball.